Hi guys, it's Elise from the Ghostcoaster, and today I thought we'd do something a little bit different. Sort of talk about sort of the scare mazes that we've done, but in a bit more detail in their own videos, just so we can kind of spend a bit more time on each one and sort of talk through a bit more things that we didn't get a chance to talk about in the vlogs. So yeah, I thought I'd give this little series a try and see how it goes. Now, for the first episode, you may have already guessed from the outfit that I'm wearing, we're going to be talking about the attic at Alton Scarefest. So the attic is a version of Terror of the Towers which has been at the park for a couple of seasons now, quite a few actually as well if I remember correctly, and it's one of those mazes that we've done for the last 2 years. So we had a run last year which wasn't amazing, and then we had a few runs this year which were a lot better. So yeah, thought we'd talk about those runs and see what we thought of those in a bit more detail. So the story of the attic is that there's a governess who looks after the children of a rich man. She looks after the children and loves them very dearly. However, as time goes on, there are talks of some not so suitable relations between the governess and the man of the house, which at the time period wouldn't really be appropriate. So to quell those rumours, he sets the governess to live in the attic of the towers, to keep her away and also to demolish such rumours. The governess loved the children very much and even made toys for them to enjoy and play with. Now, as they were being looked after one day, what happened was something quite unusual. They say a demon came from the fireplace and dragged the children down into the pits of hell below with him, leaving the governess to herself. As the man of the house returned, he finds the governess distraught, looking for the children. And of course, like anyone would in this situation, he blamed the governess for her negligence, and clearly it must have been on her, because why would a demon come out of the fireplace in the beginning with? It wouldn't happen. He beat the governess to death and then opted to kill himself in the process, sending himself from the window to the towers below. Now the maze itself invites you to see if that really happened, and experience for yourself the governess's now possessed playthings as you kind of experience the attic in all its glory.
Go.
The experience itself after the pre-show takes you up a series of stairs and into the attic itself. You go through a series of different scenes, such as the sort of main attic area, which kind of gives off a normal attic vibe. You then go through a section with loads of toys and playthings to kind of represent those twisted toys that the governess had made that have since gone a bit mad. You then go through different other scenes as part of the house, such as the bedroom, the playroom, the kitchen, a few other little sections like that, the dressing rooms, and ultimately you find yourself going into the fireplace, into the fire pits of hell itself. And this maze, I think, personally, is pretty well put together. Each scene really works with what it's trying to be. The transition between those scenes is also quite good. You know, it kind of works for what you're doing. You're going from one to the other. I love the amount of detail in each scene. Unfortunately, not something we've ever really been able to see due to how dark it is in there, and also just how quickly you're going through. It's obviously a scare maze, you are going to keep moving, and there's a lot of details that I just wish I'd have a bit more chance to look at, especially in that sort of plaything area with all the toys. I've got shelves with all these little bits on and things hanging down and stuff, and I would love to see those in a bit more detail. Unfortunately, we don't get the opportunity as we're going through the scare maze. Now, we also obviously have in this scare maze, you're not alone, so you do have a series of different scare actors. You've got characters that kind of go from being possessed toys themselves through to the children, to the governess appearing multiple times, even to when you get to the pits of hell, the demon of the fireplace, and even the man of the house as well. So you've got quite a nice spread of characters, and then obviously downstairs you've got the pre-show characters as well, and the sort of ride hosts and stuff. So you've got a nice little mixture there. And what I love is how those characters kind of get put into those places and how they play those roles. So the toys, for example, the way they kind of appear from different parts of the area, they don't look like they're going to move, and then next thing they're moving. A lot of them really just want to play with you, which is quite cool and quite nice to see. They really kind of keep that childlike toy innocence even in this sort of twisted, possessed format, which I really thought was quite cool. Moving through the house, we actually had some pretty good interactions this year as well in the sort of like playroom just before, and also the bedroom scenes. So there's one of the girls in the playroom, and she kind of hid herself behind this dollhouse. So as you're going through, she's actually behind you. And she got this scare from behind, and honestly I thought it was the best thing ever, because you saw this dollhouse and you didn't think anyone could be behind it, but she fit behind it, and it was really quite well done. moving on through, we have the governesses appear in the parts of the maze. Very, very good this year at getting in our faces. One of them came out of a curtain and right into my face, you know, very well-timed scare there. There was another girl that was kind of in like, I think a wardrobe sort of thing. And she kind of burst out from there. And it was great. Like, they had some really good jump scares in the maze this year. But I do find that the attic relies quite heavily on jump scares. It just feels like one of those mazes that they use a lot of jump scare tactics. They come out from hiding behind things. There are a couple of characters that are kind of constantly there that you can see, such as the governess in the kitchen, and she kind of is very good at using the darkness to kind of get into the faces of characters and, you know, being that really kind of good governess character. But most of the characters in that maze rely on corners and dark spaces to kind of get those scares on you, which kind of makes me feel like it could be something that could be improved. But let's talk about what we can improve. So, like I said before, I did really enjoy the attic runs this year, but I do feel like it could be a little bit different. You know, I feel like the story itself, as it's been the same for a couple of years now, and the sort of route has stayed the same, and all the characters and stuff have all stayed the same. I feel like they need to do something to freshen it up if they were to bring this kind of maze back again for 25. Now, I don't think it will return for 2025, but if it was to do so, I'd love to see a bit more sort of storytelling elements in there, sort of scares that were relying a little bit more on the characters instead of jump scare elements. I love the sort of fiery pit of hell kind of ending they've got, but it does feel like to me they need something at the end, almost. Now, I find this maze suffers quite a bit for being an upstairs attraction, because as we all know, golden rule of scare acting, no scares on the stairs. Easy enough. But because the fact that this maze goes upstairs to begin with and goes downstairs at the end, you haven't really got an option for a big scare factor at the end. And I kind of wish that the maze had some sort of massive scare at the end to kind of really finish it off. Like, I know this year they had one of the sort of children actors kind of come out near the end, and it was a really good sort of effective scare. Scaring a lot of people back into the maze, which was quite good. But I do wish they had some sort of bigger finale, fiery centerpiece almost, or something like that. But I'd probably say that'd be the biggest thing. But as far as the attic goes, it kind of gives us that kind of traditional scare maze feel, which we really enjoy. You know, it's very much like that very sort of traditional haunted house kind of maze, unlike other mazes which rely on other things, which we'll go into in other videos when we talk about those. But that's probably my impression. It's a good traditional kind of maze, but it does always leave me wanting a tiny bit more. However, I do love the sets and I do really enjoy it as well. So that brings us to the end of this episode. It's going to be a very small, each episode in the series is going to be quite small. It's going to be little small bits to talk about the mazes and what we think of them and what we put in them, and sort of the highlights of those mazes as well. If you haven't guessed by now, this will be a series with a few spoilers inside, so be aware of those. If it is a maze that might return next year, you might get a few spoilers. But yeah, what did you think of the attic at Alton Towers this year? Let us know in the comments, and if not, we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.